Hello, welcome to Next Generation Teaching for students and parents. I know how difficult it is for revision and how stressful it can be knowing that the exams that you take and the grades that you get will have an impact on the rest of your life. And to help with that, I've put together a series of revision clips to help students with study strategies and to help parents to understand how they can help their children to revise. All of this is grounded in research, and as we go through, I will add that research in so that you know that what you're doing really helps. Revision is about making sure that what you learn really sticks, not just for the next day, but for when you go into your exam. So hopefully these series of videos will help you to create the right environment to learn the content and the skills so that when you go into the exam hall, you feel confident that you will do your best and come out with the grade that you should be wanting. Have you ever spent hours revising with highlighters and notes only to sit in an exam and realise you can't remember what you revised? That isn't laziness or a lack of intelligence. It's the result of revision strategies that feel productive but don't lead to lasting learning. Today we'll explore why and what works better instead. In 2013, a team of researchers led by John Dunlosky looked at 10 common revision strategies and rated how effective each one was for long-term learning. What they found surprised a lot of people. Highlighting, which many students rely on, was rated low utility. Rereading notes, the most commonly used revision strategy, was also rated low utility. That's not okay but not perfect, or not could be improved. Low utility means that based on the evidence, these strategies don't work very well at all when it comes to remembering information in the long run. So why do they feel helpful? It comes down to something psychologists call the fluency trap. When you reread your notes, the information feels familiar. Your brain mistakes that sense of familiarity for understanding. But recognizing something isn't the same as being able to recall it on your own, especially in an exam. This is called the illusion of knowing, and it's one of the main reasons that students feel prepared but then struggle when it really matters. Highlighters create a similar problem. When you highlight, you're making a decision it's important, which feels active and productive. But that decision is where the thinking stops because the highlighting doesn't strengthen memory. Your brain isn't being pushed to recall the information, make any connections, or explain ideas. All of those things are essential for learning that lasts. So, research into effective revision found that strategies genuinely building long term memory have one thing in common. They require students to actively retrieve information from their memory so they can use it in an answer rather than simply looking at it. This difference is important. Rereading notes is like looking at a map but still relying on it. So, when you walk without a map, you can't do it. Testing yourself is like navigating without the map. Finding your way is harder, and that difficulty is deliberate. Because although you might not like it, it's the mental effort involved that helps strengthen your memory, and it's the same with learning. Recalling information is difficult. You have to try harder, and you will get things wrong, but it's only through doing that that you'll get better. Students who test themselves after learning retain significantly more information a week later than students who just reread. These ideas apply across all subjects, whether it's maths, history, science, or any other subject. You need to make sure that you write down what you can remember about a topic before returning to your notes. In science, you could try to redraw a diagram from memory. In history, you could try to answer some facts and some causation questions. But it's really important that you give these a go without looking at your notes. This kind of revision feels more challenging, but it's that which makes it stick. So instead of rereading your notes, try this. Close them, write down everything you can remember about the topic in a brain dump. It will be more difficult and you'll forget things and make mistakes, and that's normal. The effort involved in trying to retrieve information strengthens your memory. Once you've finished, open your notes and check. What did you remember accurately and what did you miss? What did you get wrong? Those gaps are your revision priorities, not the parts you already know. So when adding your notes, remember to use green or another colour pen. That way you know what the information is that you couldn't retrieve properly in the first place, so that you can test yourself on that and not so much on what you remembered to start off with. If you don't have sufficient notes or you've missed some of the learning, then you could use an AI prompt to support you with knowing what you should have learnt from the syllabus, but we will look at that in a later video on brain dumps and mind maps. So students, choose one topic you revised recently. Follow the instructions from the previous slide, setting a timer for 5 minutes, then writing down all you can remember about the topic in one colour. Then using another colour pen and your textbook and notes, check what you've written, correct any mistakes and add anything you've missed. What you have forgotten or got wrong is not a failure, it's your revision focus. Then parents. As a parent, rather than listening to your child read notes aloud, use the topic sheet which they've just been completed with the extra notes and ask your child questions, particularly focusing on the information in green or the second colour that they chose to use, because this is what they didn't remember on their own. Ask questions like, what can you tell me about? Encouraging them to retrieve information from memory. You don't need to know the answers yourself because they've been written down, but simply being the audience for their recall is one of the most effective ways you can support their revision. And rather than doing it straight after, allow some time for forgetting. So maybe test a couple of days later, then a week later, then a couple of weeks later, so that the information goes into the long-term memory. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please feel free to like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos in the series. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. Good luck with your revision and I look forward to seeing you next time.